Hi, welcome back to the channel. So I was going to do a video on how you can make the most out of the SFI, the expanded offer, but it seems like the government have just cut all funding overnight, so yeah, no real words for that, to be honest. I think it's completely bloody ridiculous, but yeah, so I think I'll just kind of go over what we're doing as part of the SFI on our farm, the expanded offer, what we've stacked on our existing one, and kind of why we've done it, because I can't really offer any advice on what you guys can do now because it's completely closed, which is just daft. But anyway, can't dwell on the past now. It's kind of no real shock what the Labour government does now. You just kind of got to take it in your stride, as bad as it is. So anyway, good morning. I haven't done a video for a while, so I thought let's get on. So we're talking SFI 24, the Sustainable Farming Incentive today. So on the farm we already have a 23 application and also one existing 24 already, which I'll talk about in a sec. But so this is going to be mainly stacking on top of what you can already do in a 23. So I have done a previous video already on explaining what we've got in our 23 scheme and kind of how that fits rotationally within the rest of the farm. And within that, I had a few ideas on some stuff that I was going to stack on top from this from the 24 scheme that DEFRA had told us about what would be coming. Some of it has come true, some of it has not, and some of it is not quite as what they have said. So to start off, I think we'll go with the supplementary options. So these are options that you stack on top of existing options that you've already got. So one example of that would be the haymaking supplement. So we have in our 23 agreement low input grassland, which is similar to GS2 in the CSS scheme. And so you can either do an early cut of hay or a late hay cut, and it pretty much doubles the payment. In fact, it over doubles the payment you can get for low input grassland. So that's a good one that actually makes permanent pasture semi-worthwhile. So we've gone for that on all the hay ground because we do a fair bit of hay. Hay helps pay for it anyway. So the other supplementary option that we've gone for is supplementary bird food. So I'll do a separate video on this altogether because we're going quite seriously into this, because we have a lot of bird food on the farm, AHL2, and it's something we do a lot. It also works well with conservation aims, and if you've got a shoot on your land. And it's something I enjoy doing, so it's something I want to maximise. That pays 732, I think, per tonne, and you can apply for 1 tonne of food per 2 hectares of AHL2 or CAHL2, and that's really good. And you can buy in the small seeds or buy some seeds off a neighbour, use your own wheat seed. How part. So those are the supplementary options, and another option that we're using that works well but we're having issues with is the AHW10 low input harvested cereal. This pays 354 and it's a brilliant option. It works well with spring oats, which we grow, and I've kept in the rotation because I knew this option was coming. And it basically wants you to have a lower plant population, encourage kind of wildflowers and stuff to grow like between your crops, and arable weeds. So it limits the amount of herbicides you can use. The only herbicide you can use on spring oats is amidosulfuron, or product name Eagle. But if you were growing it with spring barley, for example, you could use trialate, Avidex, which is expensive, but it's good for oat control. So that option does work quite well, especially with spring oats, as they are quite a reduced input crop. But then the issue that we've had, so where you'd follow spring oats in the rotation would be, say, after winter wheat, and obviously on winter wheat I've put the no insecticide option on my 23 agreement. So when I was then 10 months into my 23 agreement and I was looking to apply for my 24 or expanded offer, the option AHW10 was ineligible for those parcels because I already had the IPM4, the no insecticide option, against said parcels with the winter wheat. So if I wanted to get the same start date, then it wasn't going to work. Even though the start date was going to be the 1st of March, which is my start date, and I wasn't going to do the option until then, the computer basically says no. So after lengthy conversations with the RPA, there is no wiggle room, no manual overrides, nothing you can really do. And the only option is to then delay your start date of your expanded offer until the second year of SFI 23. And then you can go ahead and apply for those options. So you would have a staggered start date. But then what that means is then when you go into year 3 and do your rotational declaration of year 3 of your 23 agreement, you've then got SFI 24 options that have probably still got 2 months left. So effectively I have the same problem, but I've just delayed it 10 months. So that's a real pain, and I've basically had to not apply for the low input harvested cereal on certain crops. So I've had to effectively plan my rotation a few years in advance, annoyingly. This has also been similar when thinking about the NUM3. So another option that I've applied for would be the no-till option. So that is a static option, so it stays in the same place. So if I applied, say on a parcel now, this one behind me, if I couldn't then not have that parcel in year 3 of my SFI 23 agreement in NUM3 because it's ineligible with those 2 options. So it's a real pain and a real blimmin' balancing act, and you've kind of got to think at least 2 years ahead on what you're going to do. But I mean, it is what it is. You can't complain too much. It's an annoying system. It's just complicated. Why they didn't make it so you couldn't just stack 24 options onto an existing 23 agreement, as in without having to do a new agreement, just do it all within one agreement, would have been brilliant. That would have made life a lot easier, but oh well. So yeah, I've only been able to put the no-till option on about probably about 30-40% of the farm, which is a little bit annoying. I wanted to do a little bit more, but it's kind of worked out well, like rotationally, as in there the kind of easier fields, some of the heavy fields going into legume fallow this spring, so can't have no-till on them, so it doesn't matter if we do some cultivations there. So it's at least making it a little bit flexible anyway. Yeah, so that option is quite good. SOH1, we're also looking at the variable rate fertiliser option. I've applied for that on a fair bit. Again, same with a no-till. It's not a static option, but you can't have it alongside NUM3. Yeah, the managed ditches option. Now, this is an option that I think is really important and should be encouraged, but I've worked it out on a few farms, so my own and clients, and it seems to work out generally around about £1 a hectare is what you get paid. So the payment is an absolute pittance, and it's pretty blimmin' pathetic, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you might as well. It's not too annoying. But also the managed ponds option. So that is £257 per pond, which is pretty good. Every farm's got at least a couple, so that's a good one, worth looking into. But just check they do need to be marked on your RPA maps as listed as a pond, or they won't be eligible. WF03 is the land use code. So then one final option that we've gone for is the summer cover crop. Now this pays a little bit better than the winter cover crop at 163 as opposed to 129. I don't know why it pays so much more, because I think the overwinter cover crop is much more beneficial and useful and better for all those sort of actions that the government wants to see, like absorbing nutrients and soil health and runoff, all the rest of it. But whatever, I digress. So basically this will be used between 2 winter crops. So I'm going to be using it between winter wheat and winter barley. So I'll be harvesting the winter wheat in August, get a summer cover crop in, something quick establishing, cheap and cheerful, probably something like peas, linseed, buckwheat, stuff that gets growing quickly. and then leave that and basically drill on the green. Well, you don't have to drill on the green, but it needs to be in the ground long enough to do something. So then just direct drill my winter barley in right at the end of September or early October. So that summer cover crop should have 2 solid months, hopefully, or at least 6 weeks of good growth during the peak summer months with all the sunlight. So that's another option. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into what SFI 24 we have managed to stack on top of the SFI 23. There's not really much else I can do. I've kind of maxed it out as much as possible. One thing to note, there's a blooming helicopter coming over, give me a second. Helicopter gone. One thing to note, you are allowed to upscale any of your options 100%. So what I've kind of done, which I'm not sure if you're supposed to do, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, in my 24, there's quite a few options that I have applied for 0.0001 hectares. So 1 metre squared, the absolute minimum you can apply for, just in case. So my 23 agreement runs for 2 more years, and my expanded offer, my SFI 24 offer, now runs for another 3. So in 2 years' time, there might be some options which I might need to scale up, or basically might have to put into my 24 agreement. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of making sure that there's always something I apply for, or I've got the ability to be able to apply for those options in year 3 if I need to. It might be unnecessary, I don't know, but the way the government is going with these schemes and distributing them, I just think it's sensible. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Just to give you the final figures, the payment that we are getting across the whole of the arable and grassland is £564 per hectare average. So yeah, over double BPS. Yes, we are putting a huge amount of work and effort into it, but you have to if you want to make the most out of these schemes. You can get a lot less money and do more of an extensive scheme. If I was going to do it again and only in a 24, I'd look at the enhanced overwinter stubble option, AHW7, with a rotation of winter wheat and spring oats probably. But yeah, that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions, and if you want any help, let me know. Thanks.